Hi, welcome back again. This is our 4th episode of a series of 8. We're going to progress just a little bit farther today. But again, go at your own pace. We'll start with our warm-up. We'll progress to some strengthening exercises to strengthen our arms, our legs, our back, and our posture. And if this is the first time you're joining us, great. We're glad to have you. Do what you can. Today, we're going to start our warm-up sitting down. We're going to progress to standing, but Gina will stay seated throughout the entire class today, our whole 30 minutes together. So let's get moving. Let's go ahead and lengthen our spines really nice and tall. I like to put an imaginary string in the top of my head and stick it to the ceiling. That way it helps me to remember to stay nice and tall. Next, I'd like to shrug the shoulders back and down just so they're anchored. So imagine you've got a tennis ball in between your shoulder blades and you're just gently holding on to that ball with the shoulder blades. Let's bring our ears so they're right over our shoulders. Our feet are right beneath the knees, and we can just barely see our toes peeking out past the knees. Our feet are flat on the floor. We're in a good seated posture here. Let's go ahead and take a big breath into the belly, creating some expansion in that belly. Now as you exhale, just let your belly fall. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, and let the belly fall. Just creating a nice breathing pattern, getting some more oxygen into the body. I've got my friends here again today. I've got Clay and Lynn. I've got Gina on my other side and Susan. So we're going to take you through a really great program today. Let's go ahead and add some movement. Let's look over our right shoulder, just a gentle neck stretch, and now come back to center, and let's look over our left shoulder and come back to center. Let's do that again on each side. One on the right, and back to center, and one on the left, and back to center. Changing our direction a little bit, bring your right ear to your right shoulder, and now come back up, and bring the left ear to left shoulder, and then come back up. Let's do that again, right ear to right shoulder. Shoulders stay heavy, they stay down. Let's come back up. Let's do one more to the left. And come back up to center. Let's move into the shoulders. I'd like for you to lift them up to the ears and lower them down. Now just a reminder, there are a couple rules associated with this program, the Strength for Life program. One of the rules is to stay in a pain-free range. So don't do anything that hurts. You can always modify, you can make things smaller movements rather than doing something large. So in other words, if this hurts your shoulders, you can simply make that move just a little bit smaller. Kind of like you're just saying, I don't know. See that? I don't know. Let's release the arms. Go ahead and shake out your shoulders. Let's go ahead and move into the biceps, a little bit lower into the arms. So turn your palms up. We're going to bend the elbows, bringing the palms towards the shoulders, and then straighten the arms, bringing them back where we started. Let's bend the arms, hands towards the shoulder, straighten the arms. Bend and extend. Feel those bicep muscles working. Feel them getting a little bit warmer. Those would be the muscles in the front upper arm. Here's our last one. Let's bring the palms up, elbows are bent. Now turn your palms around. Let's gently reach overhead. Starting small, find pain-free range. Once you know you're in a pain-free range, if you want to, you can start to make the motion larger. That way you can always find pain-free if you run into pain. You can keep moving just a little bit smaller. Let's bring these arms right back down, dangling at our sides. Here's a shoulder blade squeeze. I love this one for our posture. So I'd like for you to find that tennis ball between your shoulder blades. And this time I want you to squeeze it tight. Open the shoulders, squeeze those blades together, and then release. And then squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Good. Feel the chest open as you do that. Feel your lungs open. Feel like you're standing a little bit taller or sitting a little bit taller. Let's release. Let's keep a little bit of a hold on our tennis ball between the shoulder blades, not a squeeze, but a hold. We're going to let the arms float up out to the front, palms are facing down, and then we're going to lower these arms back down to our sides. Lifting up and lowering down. Nice and smooth here. Sometimes there is one shoulder that may be injured or it doesn't work as well as the other, so maybe one arm comes up higher than the injured shoulder. Do what you can. It's really important to do what you can. Don't worry about what you can't do. Do what you can, and that will improve. Here's your last one. Let's lower these arms back down. Give them a shake. We're going to rotate the palms so they're facing the thighs. This time lifting our arms out to our sides and lowering back down. Starting small and lifting the arms up larger as we feel comfortable. So our whole purpose right here in this warm-up is to literally warm up the muscles, to warm up the joints, to warm up the body. We prepare those joints and muscles for more challenging work in a nice, safe way. Notice our arms are coming up a little bit higher, but don't do it if it's not right for you. Here's our last one. Let's bring the arms back down. Let's shake these shoulders out a little bit. We're going to go to the TVA squeeze, belly squeeze. So I want you to take your belly. I'm going to put my hand here so you can see what I'm doing, but don't push with your hand. Pull with your belly. Pull your belly tight and then release. Pull your belly tight and release. So you can see what I'm doing is my hand follows my belly. This muscle is so important. It protects our spine. And you can feel it work when you breathe. And who doesn't need a little protection for their spine? I can tell you, I know so many people who have back pain, back discomfort, back weakness. Well, this will help. This will help strengthen your back. Let's release our arms down to our sides. Sitting muscles. I want you to take the muscles that you're sitting on, squeeze them tight so you get a little lift on the chair, and release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, and release. These are part of our legs. So the next time you hear somebody say lift with your legs, think about the ones you're sitting on. Those are part of your legs. Let's do a couple more. And here's our last one. Great. We're going to move down the legs a little bit, down into the feet and the ankles. So we're going to start with a toe tap. So go ahead and just tap out the toes. Upper body stays nice and tall. And now let's leave our toes down and tap just the heels. Working on our ankles, maybe a little foot roll here. We're going to move up to the next joint above, which is the knee. So I'd like for you to take this into a little kick. Little kick. Keeping it low, pain-free. So remember, if you've got a knee that doesn't work the same as the other knee, or maybe it's painful, make it really low. Don't worry about making this a big motion. Let's do one more on each side. Here's our last one, bringing the feet down. I want you to take it into a little march. Let's warm up the hips. Little march. Little safety precaution here for you. If you have a hip replacement, I need you to keep your thighs stuck to the chair. So we can still lift our feet, we can gently lift our knees while we keep our thighs stuck to the chair. So if you have a hip replacement, you know that you always need to keep your knees below hip level. All right, we've got one more warm-up exercise to do. Pretty easy so far, huh? Let's go ahead and plant both feet. This is called out, out, in. So we're going to take one foot out, the other foot out, first foot in, second foot in. And actually, it's not just the foot, it's the whole leg that's moving as one unit. Out, out, in. Do you feel it working your brain? Little coordination exercise here for you. This one always, in the classes that we have that are live, that happen weekly here in San Andreas and West Point, this exercise always makes everybody laugh because there's always several people that have a difficult time with this. Now we add arms. Now you can see why it gets a little bit more difficult here. Out, out, in. Let's do two more. Now I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. Here's your last one. Now just a little bit faster if you can. Out, out, in, out, in. You've got it. Here's your last one. Great. Bring your arms back down. So whether you get it just right or not, it really doesn't matter. What's important is your brain is trying to get it. So you're working your brain even if you don't get it. Get it? Okay, so we should be warmed up. Our body's a little bit warmer. Our joints are prepared for a little bit more strenuous activity. We're going to use some strength training equipment. Clay and Lynn and I are going to use exertubes. This provides resistance. It looks like a jump rope, but it's elasticized, it's rubber, so it provides resistance. Susan and Gina are using hand weights, and they're about 2.5, 3 pounds. So don't go out and pick up a 10-pound weight if you're not ready for that. You may not need that. We're going to start with our bicep curl. Arms are hanging at our sides. Let's go ahead and shrug those shoulders back and down. Let's lengthen our spine, take a big breath. And on the exhale, bending the elbows, inhale back down. Exhale to bend, inhale to extend. Let's go for 8. Still breathing. Notice how Susan and Gina are keeping their elbows right at their sides. Here's our last one, and then release. Great, that was the front of the arms. Now we're going to move to the back. In fact, we're going to do some of these standing. Gina will stay seated. The rest of us are going to stand. For standing, if you feel confident with this, if you've got a tube, it's underneath your feet. If you've got hand weights, they're hanging at your sides. We've got a loose overhanded grip. If you don't feel ready to stand, stay in your chair and follow Gina. Let's lengthen the spine again. Take another big breath. On your exhale, reach backwards. Inhale, come back to the thighs. I'm going to turn sideways to show you. Exhaling back, inhaling to the sides, exhaling back, and right back to where we started. So notice I'm moving at my shoulder joint. My elbow is staying long. Our postures are good and tall here. And our knees are soft. So when you're standing, I want you to maintain a soft knee. Here's our last one. And let's release. Let's go ahead and put this exertube to the side. Let's do a couple of stretches. So we're going to sit back down to stretch, and then we'll come back to standing for some more leg work. So having a seat, bringing our palms to the floor, stretching the biceps, the front of the inner arm. Deep breath, and then release. Let's stretch the back of the arms. Right hand to right shoulder, elbow point straight ahead. Let's go ahead and give this arm a little boost, pain-free range. Don't put a shoulder where it doesn't belong. Deep breath. And let's go ahead and release this arm. Dangling at our sides. Let's do same thing, other side, left hand to left shoulder. Give it a little boost. You may notice one side is more flexible than the other. It's normal. So breathe through it. And then let's release back down. Good. Let's go back to our legs. Again, Gina will stay seated. The rest of us will stand. We're going to come right next to our chair. So this is where you'll want to find some support, whether it be a wall or a chair or a counter, something just in case you are concerned about losing your balance. So we've got our body weight in the leg closest to our chair. We're going to lengthen our spine. Let's take a big breath. On the exhale, we're going to go ahead and pick up this foot, bent knee, and then place the foot back down. Exhale, bending. Inhale to release. Bend and release. This is a functional exercise. This is important to keep these muscles strong for things that we do every day, maybe stepping up onto a curb, maybe stepping over a shoe on the floor. How about a pet? Maybe you've got a pet that gets in your way and you need to step over that pet. These muscles must stay strong to do that. Even just simple things like walking. Here's your last one. Let's plant this foot on the floor. Go ahead and shake out the legs. Let's do the same thing to the other side. So either turning around with your back towards the TV or turning your chair, some support. Body weight is again in the leg close to your support. Let's get tall. Let's inhale first. Exhale, lifting the knee and foot. Inhale back down. So our knees are bent, and you decide how far you want to lift the foot from the floor. You may even leave your toes on the floor because our legs are heavy. This is a weight, right? Good. So think about these muscles next time you walk across the room. Think about lifting that foot, lifting that knee, and staying strong. Think about that next time you step onto a curb. We're still good and tall. Correct it if you're not. That spine likes to slump down, so give it a fix. Let's go ahead and inhale. Exhale, bending the knee, foot lifts up. Now here's where we rotate at the hip, foot down. We lift, rotate, bring the foot right back where it started. So our toes are pointing straight ahead, we're opening the hip, toes are pointing out to the side. Lifting, rotating, and down. This gets a beautiful rotation at the hip joint where the hip and the thigh connect. Now your support knee, the one you're standing on, is soft, so do your best. Don't lock that knee. And by the way, this leg is working. It's not just standing there idly. So if you feel something going on in this leg, it's working. It's having to hold you up as you're moving this leg. Here's your last one. Feel that inner thigh pull you right back, planting the feet. Let's give the legs a shake. Let's finish up with these legs on the other side. So let's move our support again. I'm going to move this tube out of my way so it doesn't trip me up, so make sure your floor is clear. Again, body weight in the leg closest to the support, lengthening the spine. Let's inhale. Exhale, bending the knee. We're going to rotate the hip open, toes down, lift, rotate, and back. So have a look at your toes. Are you rotating them so they're pointing sideways? If not, think about the hip joint. Think about rolling that hip joint around. It's a ball and socket joint, and it rolls in there. So rotate it around. This is a good one. Helps with things like getting in and out of a car. In fact, I have a few people that come into my classes who have reported fairly newly into the class that they already can feel a difference. They feel like they have an easier time getting out of the car because of this exercise. Little things that sometimes we take for granted until all of a sudden we can't do it as easily. Let's go ahead and bring this foot back to where we started, putting our body weight evenly between both feet. Let's come back to our chair. Let's have a stretch. We're going to sit down and stretch, and then we'll do a few more things standing. This is our hip flexor stretch, valuable stretch. So we're sitting on the edge of our chair. We're all going to turn to the right, hold on to your chair, point your left knee towards the floor. Remember, if this hurts the thigh, you can bring the knee towards you. If you're uncomfortable, stay with it. Knee points down, tailbone rolls under. Take a deep breath. Now we're bringing our left foot back to the floor, gently coming back to center. We're going to go all the way around to the other side. Right knee pointing towards the floor, top of the right foot pointing towards the floor. Tucking the tailbone. This is a big stretch. Do you feel this in your hip flexor where your hip and your thigh connect? So your fix, if it's too painful, you bring that knee towards you. But stretching this area out also loosens up the back. Valuable stretch. Let's go ahead and bring the right foot back to the floor. Let's come back to center. Let's come back up to standing, except for Gina. She'll stay seated. We're going to get our equipment again. And we're going to go into our front raise to work on the front of our shoulders. And again, if you don't have any equipment to use, do this with us anyway. You will still get benefits from that. We've got our feet planted firmly on the tube if we're using one. We're going to go ahead and soften these knees and lengthen our spine, roll our shoulders back and down with a loose overhanded grip. Let's take a big breath. Now on your exhale, reaching forward, inhale, coming back down. Really important to just go to the resistance and then control this back down. So please don't force this up. Just feel the pull, feel the tug. You lift, and then nice and controlled back down. Let's exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Last two. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. And release. One more for the shoulders here. So turn your palms so they're facing your thighs. Arms are coming out like wings. Lateral raise. Let's inhale. Exhale, lifting out to the sides. Inhaling back down. We're moving from the shoulder. The elbows are staying long, but they're not locked. They're soft. Knees are still soft. Spine is still lifted. And we're breathing. You're almost there. Are you feeling stronger? You're getting stronger. All right, here's our last one. Good. We're going to put this down. We'll come back to our seated position. We'll do a stretch, and then we're actually going to work on our legs with a great exercise, a sit to stand, where we'll sit and then come back up to a standing position. So first, a shoulder stretch. Let's go ahead and just reach both arms around behind. You can lace your fingers or hold on to your chair. This is actually a really nice shoulder, chest, and postural stretch. So we're opening our posture, opening our lungs. And if you remember one thing from all of these things that we're doing together, remember this. Do this stretch every day, pain-free. This will improve your posture. Let's release. Sit to stand. This is all about the legs and the muscles that we're sitting on. Extremely valuable. So we're going to press our feet into the floor. We'll all come up to standing here. Let's start with a breath in. Now on your exhale, I want you to push those feet into the ground, squeeze your sitting muscles, and now release the sitting muscles and come back to the chair. We're pushing and squeezing and releasing to sit. Push and squeeze. Release the sitting muscles on your way back down. So we're controlled all the way up, we're controlled all the way down. Even if you're using your hands to press on your thighs, squeeze back here anyway. Great. You've got one more to go. And release. Let's finish up with one more strengthening exercise. This is a terrific one for posture. So with our exertube, we'll put it underneath the feet. With your hand weights, just hold them in your hands right out in front of you. This is all about the back, the spine, the shoulder muscles, the posture. So we've got a loose overhanded grip. We're going to trade hands with the handles. Let's sit nice and tall. Take a big breath. On your exhale, all I want you to do is just squeeze your shoulder blades, squeeze that tennis ball, and now release them. Squeeze the shoulder blades and release. Excellent job. Squeeze and release. So notice our elbows are going straight back behind us. And not only that, but they're sliding right along our ribs. They're not fanning out to the sides, sliding right along. Keep that squeeze as you pull back. Squeeze the shoulder blades, squeeze that tennis ball, open the chest. So if you want to improve your posture, this is a fantastic exercise for that. And it's not too difficult. Here's your last one. And let's release back down. Let's go ahead and put this exertube to the side. Let's work on our calves and our shins as we get this wrapped up, as we start warming down. So we're going to keep our feet flat on the floor to start. We're still sitting nice and tall. Let's go ahead and take a big breath. Now on your exhale, I want you to roll up onto the toes, just lifting your heels. Now put your heels down and lift your toes. We're putting the toes down, lifting the heels, heels down, lifting the toes. So we're getting the back of the lower leg here. We're lifting the heels down, using the front of the lower leg as we lift the toes. Keep breathing, nice and slow. This is a good one to keep the ankles working well for driving, pressing the accelerator and the brake pedal. Let's do one more of each. And here's our last one. Plant the feet back down. You did it again. You did all of the tough stuff, and now it's time for some gentle stretches. Give yourself a pat on the back. You did great. So let's come back into our tall posture. Arms are at our sides. Let's gently look over our shoulder to the right. Now gently come back to center, and let's look to the left. Again, hold and breathe. And come back to center. Let's bring our right ear to our right shoulder. Stay right here with us. Big breath. Shoulders are heavy. Back to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Let your shoulders hang heavy again. And then come back up to center. Here's that stretch I asked you to remember, the postural stretch. Bring both arms behind, holding onto the back of your chair or lacing your fingers behind you. Gently roll the chest open by bringing the shoulder blades together. Pain-free. This is the magic one to help with the posture. Breathe here. And let's release. Let's come towards the end of our chair, stretching through the legs. Let's extend our right leg to the floor. Let's go ahead and sit tall. So our right heel is on the floor, our leg is straight, and we're sitting really tall. One more big breath. Let's change sides. Left heel out, leg is long. Big breath. And let's walk this foot back in. Thank you to my friends, to Clay, Lynn, Susan, and Gina. You've all done a great job. See you next time.